everybody, this is The Vikstrand. The Fog by John Carpenter from the early 80s is a really good movie. Not one of his best, but I love the atmosphere about it. I love the build up to it. I love the slow, methodical pacing that paid off in this grand, epic horror film. When they did a remake in the mid-2000s, the critics murdered it, calling it one of the single worst horror films of all time. It made a sizable profit at the box office, but everybody else basically hated it. I think it is a really bad movie, but not as terribly bad as some people might say it is. This is going to be a savage beatdown of this movie, but not an all-out murder. But let's find out what's wrong with this movie. This is the remake of The Fog. So the story is kind of the same as Carpenter's original. There's a small island off the coast of Oregon, and there's a fog coming in that has something disturbing in it, something evil. Now boats are disappearing and people are dying. Why is this happening? It has something to do with the events of the late 19th century, where, you know, the founding fathers of the city or whatever, you know, it has something to do with that. So is Maggie Grace, who has just returned to the island, going to find out what is going on here? Why are they having these weird dreams, and can this movie ever fucking end? The Fog is another one of these unwanted remakes, where they missed the entire point of the original movie and replaced everything good with something that was bad. They replaced the shallow but ultimately likable characters with characters you have no interest in whatsoever. They replaced the eerie atmosphere with bad jump scares and PG-13 violence in a horror film. Great job, you guys. They've ultimately replaced the cool special effects with bad CGI. And they replaced a simple but effective story with an overcomplicated and ultimately pointless one that I never really got into. The Fog is a bad horror film with bad special effects, with bad jump scares and terrible acting, especially from Maggie Grace. Maggie Grace is an okay actress at, you know, a couple of movies. And there his mic went all dead. So I'm gonna continue the review from here. Instead, I didn't drag my ass up to that fucking hill just to go down and discover, hey, you can't use any of that material. Fuck you, I'll use it anyway. And I know Maggie Grace is not a Meryl Streep, but holy hell is she terrible in this one. Maggie Grace can put on a okay performance every now and then, but this gotta be her magnum opus of fuck you, this is bad. I don't recommend this movie necessarily, but the movie is not quite as terrible as some people has claimed it to be. It is a very underwhelming horror movie with bad jump scares, bad CGI, non-existing atmosphere and lame acting and terrible characters. But I have seen at least 30 or 40 movies that are worse than this one. It's been called one of the worst horror films of the 2000s, and I really can't agree with it. It is a bad movie. Avoid it, not at all cost. See the original instead, and, you know, stay away from this one if you can. I give this movie 22 points. This movie is bad, but it is not as bad as some has, you know, labeled it to be. It is an underwhelming, very boring, very dull PG-13 horror movie. That is basically all you need to know. Bad jump scares, bad CGI, bad mostly everything, but nothing was offensively awful. Next time, check your fucking batteries in your fucking microphone. I'll see you next time for my so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Go and jump off now, you idiot.